FL Real Estate Unit 6 Flashcards, 40 questions with explained answers. Flashcard 1. Term: failing to provide accurate and current rental information for a fee is a misdemeanor of the first degree, punishable in a court of law by a fine of up to $1,000 and or by imprisonment of up to 1 year. Definition: misdemeanors of the second degree are punishable by a fine of up to $500 and or by imprisonment of up to 60 days. Flashcard 2. Term: a claim will be denied if the offending licensee had an expired license at the time of the transaction. Definition: true. Flashcard 3. Term: which violation is a third-degree felony? A. False advertising. B. Broker fails to register a trade with the commission. C. Sales associate fails to deliver an earnest money deposit to her broker before the end of the next business day. D. Individual performs real estate services for compensation without a real estate license. Definition: D. Flashcard 4. Term: max period a license can be suspended. Definition: 10 YRS, $5,000 fine. Flashcard 5. Term: third-degree felony. Definition: 5 YRS. Flashcard 6. Term: the maximum amount that may be collected from the Real Estate Recovery Fund as a result of a single real estate transaction. ISA: $50,000. B. $25,000. C. $150,000. D. $100,000. Definition: A. Flashcard 7. Term: under Florida Statute 455, which penalty may be imposed on an individual for unlicensed practice of real estate. A. Suspension. B. $5,000 fine per count. C. Revocation. D. Any of these. Definition: B. Flashcard 8. Term: a licensee who receives a notice of noncompliance for a minor violation must take action to correct the violation within 15 days. Definition: true. Flashcard 9. Term: a broker who fails to pay an earnest money deposit at the title closing in accordance with the contract for sale and purchase may be charged with which offense? A. Breach of contract. B. Moral turpitude. C. Failure to account for and deliver. D. Commingling. Definition: C. Flashcard 10. Term: the claimant can be reimbursed for punitive damages from the recovery fund. Definition: false equals only actual damages awarded by a court can be reimbursed from the fund. Punitive damages cannot be paid from the fund. Flashcard 11. Term: hashtag days to correct an infraction on a notice of noncompliance. Definition: 15 days. Flashcard 12. Term: falsifying a license application is a second-degree misdemeanor. Definition: false equals it is a third-degree felony to falsify a license application. Flashcard 13. Term: hashtag days after which a final order becomes effective. Definition: 30 days. Flashcard 14. Term: another term for a formal complaint. ISA: an administrative complaint. B. A consumer complaint. C. Legally sufficient. D. Prima facie evidence. Definition: A. Flashcard 15. Term: an administrative fine of up to $5,000 may be issued for a violation of Chapters 455 and 475, FS. Definition: true. Flashcard 16. Term: a complaint is legally sufficient if it contains facts indicating that a violation of Florida statute has occurred. Definition: true. Flashcard 17. Term: the Florida Real Estate Commission possesses the authority to sentence a licensee to imprisonment. Definition: false. Flashcard 18. Term: time period to request reimbursement from the recovery fund. Definition: 2 YRS. Flashcard 19. Term: second-degree misdemeanor incarceration. Definition: 60 days, $500 fine. Flashcard 20. Term: a buyer was defrauded by a real estate licensee. The buyer is awarded a judgment against the licensee in the amount of $7,000 damages plus $2,300 for attorney's fees and court costs. The buyer has been unable to collect on the judgment, but it is determined that the buyer may seek reimbursement from the Real Estate Recovery Fund. How much can the buyer recover from the fund? A. $7,000. B. $10,000. C. $9,300. D. $50,000. Definition: A. The buyer can recover the amount of the judgment up to $50,000 or the unpaid amount of the judgment, whichever is less. The buyer cannot be reimbursed from the recovery fund for court costs or attorney's fees. Flashcard 21. Term: unlicensed practice of real estate for compensation and falsifying an application are felonies of the third degree. The penalty is a fine of up to $5,000 and or up to 5 years in jail per offense. Definition: individuals can be reimbursed from the Real Estate Recovery Fund for monetary damages as a result of license law violations by a licensee. Claims are limited to $50,000 per transaction or the unsatisfied portion of a judgment claim, whichever is less. and no more than $150,000 against one licensee involving multiple transactions. The license is automatically suspended upon payment from the fund until the fund is reimbursed, EDO exception. Flashcard 22. Term: probable cause proceedings are open to the public. Definition: false. Flashcard 23. Term: examples of moral turpitude include embezzlement and crimes of larceny. Definition: true. Flashcard 24. Term: if a license is issued by mistake, the license will be revoked with prejudice. Definition: false. Flashcard 25. Term: when a consumer files a complaint against a real estate licensee that contains facts indicating that a violation of FREC rules has occurred, the complaint is said to be EA, prima facie evidence. B, formal. C, evidence. D, legally sufficient. Definition: D. Flashcard 26. Term: 7 steps to the compliant process. 1. A complaint, an alleged violation of a law or rule, is filed with the DBPR. 2. INVESTIGATE. If the complaint is legally sufficient, the DBPR conducts an investigation and notifies the licensee respondent. The complaint and the information obtained during the investigation are kept confidential until 10 days after probable cause has been found to exist. The DBPR's investigative report is forwarded to the probable cause panel. In rare situations deemed to be too serious to allow the licensee to continue to practice real estate while the complaint process proceeds, the DBPR secretary may issue a summary, emergency, suspension. 3. Probable cause. The probable cause panel consists of 2 FREC members. The probable cause panel determines whether probable cause exists. 4. Formal administrative complaint. If probable cause is found, the DBPR issues a formal, administrative, complaint. An election of rights is mailed with the complaint to the licensee. The licensee has 21 days to 1. Not dispute the allegations of fact and request an informal hearing, 2. Dispute the allegations of fact and request a formal hearing, or 3. Not dispute the allegations of fact and waive the right to be heard. The licensee respondent may enter into a stipulation, an agreement as to the facts of the case and the penalty reached between the attorneys for the DRE and the licensee. 5. Decision: impose penalty informal hearing. If there are no disputed facts, the Commission, probable cause panel members are excused, decides the case and imposes the penalty in an informal hearing held during a regular FREC meeting. If the licensee respondent requests a formal hearing or if the respondent disputes the allegations, the case is heard by a Florida administrative law judge in a formal hearing. The administrative law judge prepares a recommended order. 6. Final order. The FREC imposes the final order. Members of the probable cause panel do not participate. The final order becomes effective 30 days after it has been entered. 7. APPEAL. The licensee respondent may appeal the final order. Definition: the licensee respondent may appeal the final order. Flashcard 27. Term: a case is heard before an administrative law judge in a formal hearing. In such cases, who renders the final order: A. FREC, with members who served on the probable cause panel excused; B. Attorney General; C. Administrative law judge, DBPR secretary. Definition: A equals FREC, with members who served on the probable cause panel excused. The FREC, with the members who served on the probable cause panel excused, issues the final order. In matters heard by an administrative law judge in a formal hearing, the FREC reviews and considers the administrative law judge's findings and recommended order before issuing its final order. Flashcard 28. Term: the broker followed the directions issued in an escrow disbursement order that became the subject of a lawsuit. The consumer plaintiff obtained a judgment against the licensed real estate broker. It is determined that the consumer is eligible to seek reimbursement from the Real Estate Recovery Fund. The fund may not reimburse which expense: A. Broker defendant's attorney's fees; B. Broker defendant's court costs; C. Punitive damages; D. Plaintiff's attorney's fees. Definition: C. Flashcard 29. Term: the probable cause panel is composed of 2 current professional members of the Commission. Definition: false equals one of the panel members must be a current FREC member. The other member may be a former commissioner. At least one panel member must be either a current or former professional, not consumer, member. Flashcard 30. Term: a broker placed security deposits from tenants into the business operating account. This is an example of commingling funds. Definition: true. Flashcard 31. Term: a warning for an initial offense that allows a licensee to correct the minor infraction without consequence is called a citation. B. A letter of reprimand. C. An administrative fine. D. A notice of noncompliance. Definition: D. Flashcard 32. Term: which penalty is not an administrative penalty that may be imposed by the FREC? A. Restitution to the injured party. B. Revocation. C. $5,000 fine for violation of Chapter 455D, probation. Definition: A. Flashcard 33. Term: unlicensed activity is a third-degree felony. Definition: true. Flashcard 34. Term: who renders a determination as to whether probable cause exists. A. Administrative Law Judge. B. DBPR Investigator. C. 2 FREC Member Panel. D. 7-member Commission. Definition: C. Flashcard 35. Term: the FREC may issue a summary suspension when a licensee's actions endanger the public. Definition: false equals a summary suspension, or emergency suspension, must be issued by the DBPR Secretary or a legally appointed designee of the Secretary. Flashcard 36. Term: #days a licensee has to accept/file a written objection to a citation. Definition: 30 days. Flashcard 37. Term: first-degree misdemeanor incarceration. Definition: 1 year, $1,000 fine. Flashcard 38. Term: appealing a final order stops the enforcement of any penalty stipulated in that order. Definition: false equals appealing an order does not stop enforcement of the penalty. If the penalty would suspend or revoke a license, however, the court will normally grant supersedes, stay suspension, as a matter or right on conditions considered reasonable. Flashcard 39. Term: a subpoena is a legal document commanding an individual to appear at a certain time and place to give testimony. Definition: true. Flashcard 40. Term: time period to file an appeal. Definition: 30 days.